We were able to get the Hail Mary houseboat off the ground even with the very back-heavy jump drive module. But we've got a couple more things to do. We need to check out the trade station for more data pads, test the jump drive module a little to make sure it works like we want, find the other trade station somewhere in the vicinity of Pertam, and get a look at where we're escaping to. All that and more is coming up right now. I am having to fight the extra unbalanced weight of the jump drive, mainly because it's a subgrid, and the weight of subgrids aren't automatically compensated for, like the weight of your main ship. Getting to space with the jump drive was a major milestone, and now that we're here, we have quite a few little jobs to do and some tests to run. First is to stop over at our familiar trade station and look to see if they have more data pads that might reveal more trade stations in the area. We'll try detaching the jump drive in the safe zone, then dock inside the trade station. All successful. And now that we're inside, they do seem to have more data pads, so we'll buy all of them to reveal more trade stations. While we're here, we'll also take a hauling contract. This one looks to be about the same distance as the other trade station we want to visit here at Pertam, so that'll be good. 2 birds with 1 stone. We'll get ourselves hooked back up to the jump drive module, leave the safe zone, and head out. Okay, no birds without any stones. I totally misread the distance of the trade station. It's over 7,000 kilometers away, which is at least 3 jumps with the jump drive. So we're not doing that. We'll just have to take the money and reputation loss. On to our original plan. Let's give our brand new jump drive module its first test and do a fairly short 100-kilometer jump over near where the other Pertam trade station is marked. I don't know if it's on the planet or in orbit, but we're going to find out. That jump animation looks so good. It envelops the entire jump module, and it looks like the origin point is coming out of the top of Hail Mary. Alright, it worked, and the station is confirmed to be on the surface of Pertam. So what we'll do is this. We'll fly in closer, detach the jump drive module around 25,000 kilometers, which should be just a small bit outside of the gravitational pull of Pertam. Be sure to set the jump drive's antenna to maximum range so we can easily find it again, and continue on down to the surface of Pertam with just the houseboat. With it empty of goods, we should be able to do this with a minimal loss of hydrogen fuel. We'll point straight towards it, kick on the reverse thrusters to keep us from picking up too much speed, then level out at 1,000 meters for a nice controlled descent down to the trade station. The station looks to have a docking pad, but we'll just land on the ground and go in on foot. It has a couple large hydrogen tanks, and that's a large hydrogen thruster. In a different playthrough, we could have attempted to take over the whole base and use that thruster to get to space. Probably even modified the whole station to use as a mobile ship. Imagine on a multiplayer server merging this station to that other pirate station we found and disarmed, and having a little mini mobile trade station to provide services to the rest of the players. Lots of possibilities for gameplay. This station sells and buys raw ores along with some components. We certainly could have used this trade station early in the series, but I'm really happy the way the challenge played out. This just would have been a very different sequence of events. I'm glad we got to see the station, but we'll head back to the ship and return to space. And we'll also make a note of what this station had to offer. We have a little over 65% of our hydrogen, and I'll bet we can make a nice, efficient launch and use only about 5% of our fuel. Okay, we're back at the jump drive module and are at 61% fuel, hardly any use at all. Landing is always more fuel hungry than takeoffs. Next, it's time for another test. We built this special small grid maneuvering module onto the jump drive. Let's test out how it actually works for moving the jump drive module around. You know, it's not bad. You do have to be a little ginger with it. The maneuvering module only has 4 gyros to rotate the entire jump drive module, and they're not ideally located at the center of mass. But the whole thing does work, so we'll check off that box as a success. Now though, we'll do a sort of high arc route maneuver to stay out of Pertam's gravity and head to the wreck we previously hacked to use as a refueling depot. I really like how the displays allow me to keep tabs on power and such. And if you want, you can see how I did that on 2 prior videos. One about how to load up the programmable blocks with scripts, and the other where I gave a couple various examples of how to use that particular script for making better displays like these. For fun, we'll loop around the pirate space station we disarmed and head to the wreck. There's a connector on this side, but I think the connector I hacked is on the other side. We'll drop off the jump drive module here and go take a look. Yeah, this is the one, but it's damaged. I'll assume it was an assert drone that came close, took some interest in its enemy, the space pirates, and took a few shots. But it's okay, we'll back up to it and get it repaired. We'll get some extra parts though, and this merge block is serving no purpose. Okay, well, that's not nearly enough. Let's get some other pieces, particularly ones with steel plates and computers, and finish it up. Well, now we're making very bad life choices, and are doing unnecessarily risk mag boot walks onto the derelict ship to hand grind more blocks. This is not what I should be doing at all. And it's because I was trying to do a very simple thing like refuel off a connector I had already hacked. In hindsight, I probably should have just hacked the one on the other side, but we did it. Now we can get ourselves all refueled. It was just a dumb risk we didn't need to take. We'll get reattached to the jump drive module though and go pick up our little drone. I think the drone might be really useful on our deep space voyage, and I've got an idea of where to attach it that should fit it right into the aesthetic of the ship. We'll take control of the drone, bring it to the ship, and it looks like it might fit very nicely on the small connector we kept on the side of Hail Mary. It's a good place for it, and the camera angles are giving me a fit, but I think I can make it work. We'll need to remove the pillar and a few tapered decorative blocks on Hail Mary. We also need to back out of the safe zone because grinding is forbidden and disabled when inside an NPC trading area. Okay, let's do this nice and carefully. We don't want to grind too much. We ground off too much. Or maybe it's just what we needed. But it's ruined the look on that part of the houseboat. No matter though, we have a fix for that. Let's head back to that pirate space station where there's artificial gravity, get this side of the ship squared away, and probably even do a couple other little changes. I didn't have the camera rolling, but I did a little test on the small maneuvering thrusters to see if, in an emergency, could they push the whole jump drive module and houseboat? And the answer was yes. The acceleration was slow, but if it was a critical situation, like with no hydrogen, it would be possible. What we'll do is try to squeeze ourselves back into the pirate station's landing pad. Hail Mary's put on a few pounds since last time and is fattened up a bit, but we can still get in there and do a little trimming once we settle. There, all good. Now to fix up Hail Mary from our prior reckless grinding. No, this bottom block has to change. No, that top block isn't right either. There we go. Now we've got it. I can totally live with that. One engineering problem we have to fix though is that we need to attach the drone one block farther back. Where it sits now, there's 2 blocks that'll get burnt by the hydrogen thrusters, and that'll never do. We need 2 full voxel blocks of clearance behind the hydrogen thrusters, and we've got a mag plate and light protruding into that little space. The fix is easy though. We'll add another connector, slide the drone back, and there you go. 2 full blocks of clearance. The next change to the ship was to swap out the front grinder with a drill. I did this because I suspect we'll be more in need of ice for power and fuel on our long voyage than we will for components. And if we need components, the drone we just spent all that time getting set is very capable of grabbing a few select blocks with the components we need and bringing them back to the ship. We've got the larger connector on the bottom of the houseboat and on the back of the drone, and that'll let us pass any sized component we need into storage. I played around with the idea of adding an extendable piston with a mag plate. I thought it might come in handy, but decided against it. I just don't see a real reason for having it right now. We've been doing things in the survival challenge as we need to, and I see no reason to change that. What I will do though is a quick view of the inside greebling and extra functions of the houseboat. We've seen the outside a fair bit, but I did some things to the inside as well. This houseboat is expandable with more automations. There's 2 timer blocks that are vacant, and a button I never used. That last hydrogen engine I placed now has a gun rack and a decorative hatch and a speaker that works with the defensive block to sound an alarm when enemies are within 2,000 meters. And I think the roundness of the speaker works well with the continued rounded side of the engine. The default lighting of the ship is blue. There's a truss light too that turns on and changes the interior to red when in power saving mode, and it has an occasional quick blink to it. I had some extra space down low and on the other side, so I put some decorative grates and placed a light behind the grates to even out the bluish interior. I managed to stick a small grid ore detector in a little niche, which goes along with the replacement decision for the drill on the front. There's a blank space here that serves no purpose, and I couldn't think of any block I wanted to put there, so it'll just be good visibility out to the left. On the jump drive, you can walk down the slots on both sides of the ship, and if you take the stairs up, it opens up into a rather spacious area. Now, the empty voxel space of the ceiling armor panels does face down into this space, so I can't readily place anything here, but I could reconfigure that pretty easily and make this area have functional blocks, couches, or whatever. I just didn't have any plans for that. What I mainly wanted is to just have access to the maneuvering module at the back. The interior of Hail Mary did turn out nice with lots of visual interest, very techy and functional, and looks like an interior you'd expect on a small one-person ship that's very self-reliant. With that though, It's time to leave and start making our way to a new planet just recently discovered in the solar system. It's an incredibly harsh environment with gravity greater than Pertam's, daytime temperatures that reach inferno levels, severe lightning, dust storms that overwhelm and neutralize power generation from wind turbines, and worst of all, it has acid rain that'll deteriorate any blocks and damage the health of even the toughest engineers. But we have to go, because we picked up a faint SOS from an old and dear friend, so we must mount a rescue. The journey will take quite some time and be full of danger, so feel free to check out the conclusion of the sheep farm and the start of a brand new series in mid-November with the drop of Farming Simulator 25. Wish me luck on our Space Engineers travels, and I'll see you in the next series, because there's always more coming out of the channel. See you soon.